all in my ass.
Yeah, that's where the part 1 of the video is. It's in Skip Bayless's ass, which you can check out now on our YouTube page. Actually, no. So for those wondering what happened, in the sudden cutoff from part 1, QAnon attacked their servers and put the jeopardy of the show, put the show in jeopardy, because they don't like our takes on Tua. Sorry,
It's okay. QAnon was always going to come for us. We also may have been talking too loudly about Russell Wilson's contract in a city where that is still sensitive matter. So perhaps someone put a hit out on Patrick. We don't know. He had to rush away. He ran screaming. It was a little terrifying. We will, once this is done, the more important thing, we will check on him.
Yes. Yeah. We were DDoSed basically, and then he was. A shoe was thrown at him, and I think I saw a pitchfork in there somewhere.
Yeah,
and I mean Pitchfork, the music publication, with all their shitty takes. They heard about Patrick's music takes, and they wanted to take him out as well.
Pitchfork throwing literal pitchforks.
That's right. All right, but anyway, y'all, let's continue on where we left off. We moved off from Devontae Adams talk to Christian McCaffrey talk. So, for those of you who are unaware, or for those of you who have already heard, doesn't matter. Christian McCaffrey, we just learned, has bilateral Achilles tendinitis. Tendinitis. Meaning that, or tendinitis, sorry. Meaning that he has it in both of his legs, per NBC Sports, where we found this out was whenever McCaffrey went into Germany for treatment. That's where they found out about his condition. And according to McCaffrey's dad, this condition that he has of the Achilles tendinitis might stem from, in his words, the Big Papa McCaffrey's words, overtraining. Now, I'm not sure how exactly true that is. On this article that I'm reading right now on CBS Sports, the injury, or rather this condition, is described as an overuse injury of the Achilles tendon, the band of tissue that connects calf muscles at the back of the lower leg to your heel bone, according to the Mayo Clinic. So I'm not sure how serious this is or can be, because this sounds like something that could lead to a future Achilles tear, if not treated or responded to quickly enough, which it seems like it's already been responded to. Now, will he need surgery anyways? Who knows? But this is going to take him out for a foreseeable amount of time, which, you know what? It's, in one hand, it's surprising, and on the other hand, it's not that surprising, considering he has been an injury-prone player, and the fact that he's had essentially 2 seasons of just pretty healthy play. It just seems like, it was bound to happen. You hate to say that about a player, but, if you have a history of your body failing you, it's, history may repeat itself when you least expect it, and I don't think anybody in San Francisco expected this. Speedy recovery to you, Christian McCaffrey, but I do not feel sorry for your 49ers whatsoever. I wish you guys nothing but failure when it matters most.
Yeah, and I mean it's a tragic story with athletics sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Been a great career. I hope it's not the end. And all jokes aside, but
yeah, he's an exciting player to watch, man. He's
do
definitely
what's best for your family is still always the thing, in my opinion.
That is right. Now on to our next story. This one is a bit of a. I'm not going to say it's a surprising story because it's not. I think maybe the punishment is surprising in that it could have been a harsher punishment for some people, and who knows, for others it may be appropriate considering precedents by the NFL in previous cases. And that is Von Miller has been suspended for 4 games without pay for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy. Now, this all stems from allegations that he assaulted his pregnant girlfriend back in November of 2023, actually somewhere out here in the DFW area. So the NFL did not respond to ESPN's request for clarity over the nature of the suspension. And here's the thing. Von Miller did turn himself in to the police on November 30th after an arrest warrant was charged. On an arrest warrant for a charge of third-degree felony assault of his pregnant girlfriend. He was booked into DeSoto Tri-City Jail that afternoon and was released on $5,000 bail. So he has played up until the announcement of the suspension. So whether you believe he deserves a longer suspension or not is not part of this story, but it is interesting that it's happened now and it didn't happen sooner. But the NFL works in ways that none of us can truly ever understand.
Was probably a fucking another due process situation?
Yes, although it's funny how some players get the due process and some don't.
It's really strange. It's very, very strange how that works. But that's how the NFL's status is. Like I'm completely unfazed by it, not because it's not an egregious crime or a stupid thing that he's playing, or not in more trouble, but the fact that it's just like the NFL is just, they're so obvious. They don't have to care. They don't care. They're going to do the bare minimum to handle the situation. They don't look at it as a them problem. They look at it as as other people's problems. And just, just by chance, like every industry hires this many people that do the same thing all the time. All shucks.
Yeah, so, and yeah, it's a sad state of affairs with the way the NFL handles these things. But
I also want to squeeze something in before you get to the positive of these notes, because the next one you're going to do is positive. So while we're in the nefarious category, may I show you some breaking footage? Footage here.
Yeah, put it up for me.
We saw this tweet earlier today, but now we have the concrete evidence.
I'm worried what this is. I don't know what you're going to put.
This is about something similar. A player who's going through something similar with Von Miller. Rashee Rice.
Okay.
It's been tough. Got an injury. He's probably done for the year. Likely done for the year. I think there was a good report that came out, but still most likely done for the season, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, now Patrick Mahomes, he understands this. So Patrick Mahomes might have to call his boy and be like, look, I'm sorry that I hurt you. You need to make better life decisions outside. And secondly, you can't help what your parents do. And you better just go ahead and get used to that now. Because police are apparently have been made involved with Rashee Rice's mother, who was a porch pirate. What looks like an apartment complex, decided to steal Chapel Roan?
Chapel Roan, yeah.
Chapel Roan, okay. I just didn't want to fuck that up too bad, but I got close enough. I'm happy. Apparently those records were on somebody's doorstep and they were stolen. And luckily they have a Ring camera and we're able to very, 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 very easily tell who did it.
No.
Caesar, what do you think was the way that this was mishandled by Mama Rice? Where do you think? Now, I think, so you see that there is a child involved, and that's very not awesome. We don't want to show children this behavior. That's you're first of all, stealing porch stuff is really one of the goofiest crimes, because like, what are you going to get sometimes? Like, you're very little chance of getting anything that awesome. And that's such a specific artist. I don't think it had it on the box. So like, Mama Rice, are you even listening to that record? Do you even have a record player? What's going on here? So all these questions aside, maybe, just maybe, couple of things here.
All right. Well, let's break down the film, shall we?
Camera's wide lens. Okay. I have a Ring camera. It's surprisingly wide, even though it looks kind of small and narrow. it can catch a pretty large amount of space.
That's right. So first and foremost, Mama Rice. As we just saw that right there. Let me tell you where you went wrong first and foremost, because it looked like she made this decision as she passed the package. All right. Now, based on what this building looks like, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It looks like it's a fairly long hallway. She probably could have eyed this from beforehand. So if she had just looked downfield to see what the safety was doing, i.e. the package, right? She could have moved the safety away, i.e. make that decision beforehand and not after the fact. She's late on the throw. She's very late on this throw. And she puts the ball in danger, right?
She doesn't commit.
She doesn't commit. She commits too late, honestly, more than anything. So this is what you need to do. Mama Rice, with a jersey that is as conspicuous as yours, it's very on the nose. So let us know who you are.
No, yeah, that was the thing that, that was my second note. Is just very simply not wear the customized jersey of your son that you were not only obviously says Mama Rice, but that you obviously were probably filmed at some point during a national television broadcast wearing.
Right. And because your son has, unfortunately, some notoriety to him right now. Now, here is where here is also where she just hasn't learned from the years of her son playing football. Low man wins. All right. I know, as cartoony as this may sound, but if you wanted to get away with this package of theft, right? Listen, she doesn't know that the camera's there. That is what it is. But
she knows the camera's there. Look,
she knows that now. She knows
right there. She knows
right there. She knows. So she really wanted to, based on the angle there. Had she done an army crawl back to the package, I know it would have been real cartoonishly
she might have been able to hug the wall and reach.
Yeah, she might have gotten away with it if she had done that. No, Mama Rice, you fucked up. You fucked up, Mama Rice. Why would you do that? If you really wanted that, you could have just asked your son for it. He's gonna have plenty of time to be at home with you.
And really, the other category to this is, as far as disciplinary, not going to be something crazy, right? However, could be kicked out of the apartment if they live there.
True.
That would be a very unfortunate, stupid little thing to get evicted for. Even if you have money, even if you can do it, whatever, it doesn't matter. That's still just got to be annoying.
Yeah, and here's the thing. This now has overtaken his injury in terms of news.
It's been a hell of a year. For him.
Yeah, and he was off to such a great start for the Kansas City Chiefs. He was Patrick Mahomes' number one target. So,
well, there you go. Derailed a little bit, but that was,
and that it's fair. I mean, this was some important tape to break down, and we're not often the type to grind the film, but this was an occasion that definitely warranted an exception. Now, let's see. By the way, there has been no confirmation of the exact injury for Rashee Rice, so it may not necessarily be a torn ACL, but they haven't figured that out just yet.
Yeah, I mean, there was some positive,
but it looked ugly. It looked ugly. Anyway, let's finish this with some positivity, shall we? On our news and notes, Jared Goff led the Detroit Lions to a 42-29 victory over the Seattle Seahawks. That's not the news and notes because, it's Monday Night Football. The expectation is you probably saw it because if you were a smart football watcher, you were not watching the Tennessee Titans Miami Dolphins game outside of the first half. Because listen, Jared Goff, he did something that just doesn't happen, right? He went a full 4 quarters of perfect passing. He completed all 18 of his passes for 292 yards and 2 touchdowns. And not just that, the man also caught a touchdown as well. And it led to the Detroit Lions team overall, having a perfect passer rating. Weirdly enough, though, Jared Goff's 18 of 18, 2 touchdowns and 292 yards did not get him a perfect passer rating. It got him a passer rating of, I believe, 155.8. And apparently, had he thrown 2 less passes, he would have achieved a perfect rating. Apparently, the way to get a perfect passer rating is if 11.9% of your passes go for touchdowns, along with high accuracy numbers. So weird little system there. But hey, shout out to you, Jared Goff. You played arguably the best game of your career. And good on you, man. I know you've had a up and down career in terms of teams wanting you, your coaches wanting you, and just not having the best of situations thrown at you at various occasions. But hey, you know what? Shout out to perfection on this one.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, it's a mid-world for quarterbacks in general. So, like, if you have the rest of the team like they have, Goff is not a bad option. I mean, I don't know if you got the highlight on here.
I do have 2 highlights. I have 2
Do you
highlights.
have the Lions highlight that I want? Do you have the Montgomery run?
Oh boy, yes.
Okay, then I'll let you cook.
Let's go ahead and start cooking, because that we'll look into our PTR picks after the highlights and lowlights. This time I'm not forgetting, Patrick. We're just gonna prioritize the clips.
And if we do forget, just edit in some shit with the graphic.
That's right. But let's go ahead and get started, shall we? Since we're on the topic of the Lions. I don't remember if it's highlight number 1 or number 2, but I'm going to assume it is number 1. So we're starting off with our highlights and lowlights of the week, where I bring to you all the clips that I think deserve your attention for either the best or worst of reasons. And we're starting off with the Detroit Lions.
Right here by Kenneth Walker on the body of Anzalone, and he didn't go down.
A lot going on there.
Twice.
I mean, that was a pretty good wrestling move that Anzalone.
That wasn't that one. That was a pretty good highlight right there. That wasn't that one, so it must be highlight number 2.
The way it should be.
Goff protected, another completion, another short one, and bouncing off the tackle is Montgomery. What a catch and run! Still going. Just a thing of beauty and strength by David.
That was honestly much love for 21 bouncing up and running with the play. But like, dude, fuck.
That was a thing of beauty. That reminds me of the 2006 NFL Madden hit stick feature, or truck stick, because that truck stick was absolutely wonderful to use. Every other iteration of that has not been as satisfying. So to watch Montgomery just take that hit and then just bounce off defenders and then just keep going. My only critique, Montgomery, you didn't have to do that weird little high step. They got the angle on you. You weren't going to.
He knew he was out of gas. I don't know if he wanted to do another blow either. So I think he just kind of tried to see tried to slow it down, get into that gang tackle.
That's right. Now we're gonna go on to some more highlights. Listen, my fellow Eagles fans and even haters, there's not a lot of positive things to take away from this Eagles-Bucks game, but there was one play that I thought, you know what? Regardless of which teams did this, I think just whenever you see this play happen in a football game, it is worth showing off time and time again.
Awesome. And this one is blocked. Returnable for 2 points if they scoop it up.
Laterally.
Oh, staying in bounds, and he's going to go all the way. Keely Ringo for 2.
And I don't even remember. Was there a fumble and an interception that screwed the Eagles out of actually utilizing that momentum?
No, it's probably going to be a fumble, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Let's just talk about this play for a second, because this was a extra point opportunity. So this was not a normal field goal opportunity. Here's the thing. You don't normally see at the NFL level a ton of field goal blocks. And you see even less when they were returned for points. Now, this one was returned for 2 points because this was an extra point attempt. So in this case, the Philadelphia Eagles, they could have rode this to some significant momentum. They didn't. But I think the thing that deserves some sort of spotlight to this, not just the block, not just the return, but we actually got to hear Tom Brady actually have life as an announcer for the first time all season. All right.
Hey, there was some life whenever he heard those fucking Baker Mayfield comments.
Yeah. But I'm talking about as like an actual color guy.
Yeah.
And commentating on what's happening on the field. He finally had some life. You heard him. He was like, laterate, which, by the way, Tom, would have been the stupidest fucking thing that he could have done. Because who is he going to laterate to when there's 3 defenders right behind him?
Tom wanted chaos.
Yeah, he wanted chaos. He wanted the Eagles to lose. Let's be real. That's why he was calling for the lateral. But you heard the excitement as that play concluded.
There was some homecoming element to it that was very beautiful. I'm sure he'll cover a Patriots game at some point, but you could tell that he was thrilled to be done with the 3 straight Cowboy games, and 2 was happy to be celebrated amongst this place that reveres him, even though he barely played there. But I mean, fuck, he did everything you need to. So
I mean, you win a championship, you're a legend forever. Look at Nick Foles, for example. Like he didn't have that big of a career in Philadelphia, but he got him what mattered most. Now, we'll move on to our next highlight, and I have this as Mike Will made it. As in, Mike Will definitely made this catch for the New York Jets.
His feet are. Now we have to check the next spot because he makes the catch. Feet are dragging, both of them in. Takes the hit. I don't know how this is incomplete.
Yeah, that's easy.
That's a beautiful catch, man. That's a beautiful catch. There was another video that shows it in real time. I'm like, you know what? I don't need 2 videos of the same highlight. So this one that just shows you in slow motion just the beauty and the art of that sideline catch grab. Always love those, and those will always make it onto the highlights of the week if they're good enough. Now, here's another highlight of a kind of a similar catch, but you know what? It's more of a catch and throw that led to a score from a young guy with a lot in store for the league if things go right.
Rams bring an extra body. Williams protected. Williams to the back of the end zone for DJ Moore.
That was a hell of a throw and catch
Beautiful.
from Caleb Williams to DJ Moore. And the thing is, like, I have it listed on here as Caleb threads it. But if you look at it, it's not like he's throwing an absolute laser or dot. There's some, like, I don't want to say that pass comes out looking slow, but it just, for how tight of a window that was and for how not fast that ball went, that it just feels weird to watch it. It's just like, man, that's the slowest threading of the needle I've ever seen. But it worked. It went for a touchdown. It was beautiful. Now, Becky, you said you're going to have on the college segment, your catches of the week. Here's another catch of the week, maybe even a catch of the year contender, and it comes from the New England Patriots of all teams.
It was a pick. Little double chatter. Great concentration by Pope. Let's take a look. We're going to see when we come back, but either way, that was a heck of an effort. Yeah.
There's some boys
Sandwiched in between 2 defenders. All right, you're talking about the tiniest window. It looks like it could be picked off, and Jalen Polk just in this tiniest of spaces is able to secure the ball for himself and make the only good throw that Jacoby Brissett had against the 49ers.
Jacoby Brisket.
He got smoked like brisket, that's for sure, man. But that one, hell of a play by Jalen Polk. Salute to you, young man. But now we're going to salute someone else from that same game who took a touchdown from your quarterback and put it for his team.
49ers back out of it. Brissett given time over the middle. He gets picked off by Warner. Fred Warner climbs the ladder to get it, and now he sprints down the sideline, inside the 10. He won't be denied. Touchdown.
Hell of a play from Fred Warner. Pick 6 from a linebacker, and it wasn't an easy pick 6, and you could tell as he was running to the end zone, that boy was losing steam. He was. If that end zone had been just 5 yards further away, he's not making.
He knew he wasn't getting too many of those opportunities.
Absolutely not. And so Fred Warner, I think he got banged up in this game, but he had a hell of a performance, 7 touchdowns and interception, on his way to maybe pushing for that defensive player of the year that has eluded him these couple of years. But now we need to see some grown man football from the offense once more. I wasn't sure how I wanted to end this, so I'm going to go ahead and go with King Henry as the penultimate highlight of this week's Highlights of the Week.
Out of the pistol with Derrick Henry as the back. Here goes Henry up a big running game against Dallas. Derrick Henry on the run. Hamlin and Lewis chasing at the 40, at the 30. He will score!
That is the slowest, fastest man I have ever seen, because that man is just so fucking big. All right, if you don't know, King Henry's about 6'3", 6'4", well over 245 pounds. He is built like an absolute brick house. He might even make prime Brandon Jacobs look small. Which, if you don't remember Brandon Jacobs, he was a big fella, right? But here's the one thing that Brandon Jacobs didn't have, and that is speeds that allow him to hit 21.29 miles per hour, which is what he would top out at. He was booking it. He actually ran faster on that play than, I believe, what's the kid from at KC out of Texas?
Worthy.
Xavier Worthy. He also had a play where he almost hit the 21 mile an hour mark. Derrick Henry ran faster than that. So Derrick Henry still has that long speed. He is a one of one in terms of running back with longevity and not losing their athletic ability, despite the fact that his previous teams have run him into the ground. So if there's one person that could defeat, not defeat Father Time, but really make him work for it, it's probably going to be Derrick Henry. Now, here's our last highlight of the Highlights of the Week. This one is because if you are familiar with Trap House Sports, anytime somebody gets stiff-armed, he says this one phrase, "Dribbled!" And that's what this man from the Pittsburgh Steelers did.
But how does he react now with his team down 17-0? Sidearm delivery here. Gets it out to the tight end. This is Darnell Washington breaking free. Washington. And look at the big fella leapfrogging the
big fella dribbled a man and then hurdled another man. That one.
That was tough because the other one was forced. That other one looks more spectacular. That one's a little more like humiliating because it's just like, son.
He got dribbled onto the turf and then decides, all right, I can still get another 10 yards on this. And let me just go ahead and make this man just miss me in midair with a nice hurdle. Oh, man, that one was a very spectacular play. It may have not led to like a score, or a key defining moment in the game like some of these other highlights, but man, that one was just pure grown-ass man football, and I love it. There's too many highlights to pick from. I'm not going to vote for one this week, but Becky, is there one of these here that you think stood out from the rest?
Oh, yeah. No, David Montgomery's Bam! That one. That one had all of the spectacular force that I want that to be. That's the ultimate dribble to me. That's the power dribble. That's Russell Westbrook dribbling the ball right there.
There you go. Now, y'all, it's time for us to move on to the lowlights. And this man has his own special place in the lowlight section. He may not ever win the award because the award is named after him. But first, let's take a look into the brain of Mr. Levitt.
Coming from that John Harbaugh coaching tree. Oh, nearly intercepted. It was juggled by Emmanuel Agba. Offense winning like they have it.
It's funny, too, because that's a defensive end. I didn't even realize it was defensive end this whole time.
Oh, man. And what that clip didn't show you is that later on the sideline, they caught him saying, I didn't see him. I'm like, my brother in Christ, how did you not see that teal jersey, that giant human being in front
of... You expect the end to drop back. He hadn't seen that one before.
Yeah, I'm like, man, Will Levis, you're just the gift that keeps on giving. Please don't be hurt because you're the only reason Jalen Hurts doesn't lead the league in interceptions and turnovers. Oh man. But Will Levis, you continue to amaze us. I know there's an account on Twitter right now that's accumulating every picture of Will Levis. It's like still shots of Will Levis, and man, I cannot wait to see what a full collage would look like. I'll bring it up next week if I can find this account again. So we can keep on with Will Levis watch. But in his honor or dishonor, we will now proceed with the lowlights of the week. And this one is heavily dominated by my team. But first, let's look at some other teams before we rattle off some Eagles lowlights. Let's start with this play from the San Francisco 49ers special teams. Look at this one. Look at that, Bethke. Just runs into his own man. It's not a butt fumble, but it is close enough. It's a back fumble. And God, man, like it's just running into your teammates. It's just never not a funny, disastrous outcome if it's as long as it's not your team that you're watching play. Now, here is one where I'm just like, damn, man, what were you thinking here? And this is from the Pittsburgh Steelers, courtesy of George Pickens.
Pickens yet. Fields delivers right on cue. It's Pickens breaking the tackle. He lost the football, and the Colts have it.
This is why my Pittsburgh pick didn't hit. Motherfuckers.
Dude, I'm just like, all right, listen, I get reaching out for the first down, reaching out for the marker. But one hand, when you have three defenders burrowing or two defenders burrowing your way, and another one ripping your jersey off from the back, like, come on,
He's
man.
too special. He's suffering from success.
It's a real
condition. He'll get through it.
But you know what? Outside of this, right? And I don't mean to like sidetrack too much on this one, but Justin Fields played a hell of a game that game, and he's only continuing to get better inside that Pittsburgh Steelers organization. So for all his doubters, you're starting. I get it. He still has a lot to prove, but he's starting to make y'all look like you're sweating just a little bit. You have a little glow in your face, Justin Fields haters. Now, I'm a big hater of this team that went ahead and muffed a crucial punt return that you could say helped lead to their demise.
From his 43-yard line, Rashid Shaheed calls for the fair catch. Lost the football. Now the Falcons pounce on it in the end zone. Touchdown.
Why would you try to?
This is why my fucking New Orleans pick didn't hit.
Yep, and that's why my Atlanta pick hit, baby. Listen, Rashid Shaheed, you've had some spectacular plays this season. You're a deep ball threat, maybe one of the best in the league at your very young age. What the hell is going through your mind trying to field that so like at the 2-3 yard line? Like there's
Suffering
nothing
from success.
Yeah, there's just nothing positive that's going to happen out of that. Just let the ball go. Just let it go into the end zone, get a touchback. You'll get great field position. And who knows? That doesn't probably cost your team, but it did, and it helped me, Ty Patrick, in our PTR picks, but we'll get to that later. Now, I have that out of the way. Bethke, this is gonna be me essentially just getting this out. Your boy needs to let this out, needs to vent as he shows the world 3 consecutive Philadelphia Eagles lowlights because damn, did they have plenty in this game. So let's start with this one, shall we?
Well, that's a big discussion because if it did, then that play is okay and the Bucs would have the ball in great field position.
Isaiah Rodgers, after the game, was asked about this, and he said, well, yeah, I pushed the defender into Cooper DeJean because I thought it would draw a penalty flag, but they didn't throw the flag. Well, no shit, Sherlock, because they saw you purposely push the guy into your own teammate. Of course they're not going to call that. And then why are you shocked that they pick up the flag?
Less thinking equals talent take over.
God damn it. There is no thinking, and the talent's not taking over for shit. But you know what? That's not where the special team problems ended, because apparently the guys on special teams must really hate Cooper DeJean.
Less thinking, talent take over.
Talent trucks you over. That's what that was. Jesus. No, that one's not as egregious when you look back on it, just because like the gunner, just his momentum carried him into as they were trying to fight for position, and Cooper DeJean probably did not communicate to where he was on the field. But still, it's a bad look. It's a bad look. But you know what? So is your $52 million quarterback just having zero pocket awareness.
Huge opportunity to score some points. Blitz coming through. Blitz gets away now. Ball stripped loose. Bucks recover.
My theory on Jalen Hurts this year is pretty simple. He's trying to get Nick Sirianni fired before they already are at the bye week, so it's gonna take a little bit longer than that. But I genuinely get the feeling like Jalen Hurts thinks that he can survive in Philly longer than Nick Sirianni. So what's it if I'm a little laissez-faire this year? What if I'm just a little less careless this year than I am most years? What if I just do whatever? What if I'm just here?
He did just get paid, so he has a little bit of time on his side. And listen, Becky, you may not be entirely wrong, because listen, I don't know how plugged in you are to the drama that happens with the Eagles outside of whenever I get on here and talk to you about it.
I'm a language doctor on that one. Just me watching the games and seeing how he looks and responds to Nick Sirianni is just it feels very telling.
Well, let me tell you about him in press conferences, because I unfortunately do bother with the press conferences. Every time that Jalen Hurts is thrown a very easy layup, right? Just like hey man, here's an opportunity for you to kind of back your coach, right? Have a nice little something. Jalen Hurts.
I'll get you on the next one.
Responds with some vague shit that just does not sound very supportive of his coach. For example, this past one, Jalen Hurts was asked, "Hey, how often are you and Nick Sirianni communicating on adjustments in the game plan and adjustments throughout the game and prior to the game? Like, how involved are you guys, or how often are you guys collaborating in the game plan for that may not be the exact quote, but I'm paraphrasing here, and I quote you verbatim on what Jalen Hurts said, and his response was, "We have our moments."
But we
have our moments. Wow. You could say, we communicate frequently. You could be lying straight through your teeth, but the media doesn't have to know that you're lying. Instead, you decide, hey, let me be vague. Like, we have our moments.
Eagles need to be doing a vibes retreat this week.
Oh man, listen. The talk of the town is, and we'll get to this later, but the talk of the town is the Nick Sirianni temperature check. And let me tell you, the seat is beyond scorching. But
Kellen Moore, he's going to get his first shot as being a head coach. No identity Eagles?
We'll have an identity with him.
No, you have no identity
right now, and it's not because of him, and it's not because of Kellen Moore.
Vic Fangio will also have to go to a no identity defense as a result of head coach Kellen Moore, interim head coach Kellen Moore.
Oh, dog.
No identity special teams. So you're just running dudes out there. You don't even teach us. You just no identity special teams. We just tell 11 guys to go out there. Whatever 11 goes out there first goes.
Listen, the Eagles already don't have any identity on anything. Actually, you know what? I take that back. Their identity on defense is that they suck. That's their identity. Now, those are our lowlights of the week. I don't know which one was the most egregious, but I think
honestly, I'm going to go with. I'll go with fumble number 2. I'll go with Eagles punt fumble number 2, or not fumble because they didn't fumble, but the fuck up on punt 2 because of punt 1 already happening. I think punt 2 fucking up, even though it wasn't disastrous at all compared to the rest of these. I think just the fact that happened was probably the worst situation. That was literally the next punt, right?
Yeah, that was the next time that he had an opportunity to field the punt.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put that one as the number 1 for me.
That's fair. I would go with Jalen Hurts' strip sack because guess what? You know that 2-point return that they had, that was that following possession. So the Eagles got the ball back.
Okay, yeah.
And they followed up with that. And they could have made it a game, but they didn't because
I would
Jalen
say hate
Hurts.
to see it, but I didn't. I enjoyed every second.
As you should. Now, let's go ahead and update our audience on our PTR, Pass the Rock, NFL picks this week. For the first time, I think, all season, we all had a winning record on our picks. Bethke, you went 9-7 in your picks. I and Patrick went 10.
I'm so pissed off at the Cleveland Browns in specific. There was no reason for the Cleveland Browns not to win this game, and yet Deshaun Watson is actually that bad.
He is indeed that bad. That's why you should fade them always, even if they do manage to squeak by a few wins here and there with Deshaun at quarterback. The moment they move to Jameis Winston, though, I have faith that there's a turnaround. It may not be like a dramatic turnaround.
They might call Cooper for Trey Lance straight up. I don't know at this point.
I don't think that's happening. I know you want that so bad. I know you want that so bad. It's not
the Browns are in a worse way with their whole franchise right now because there's just an entire defense full of elite level players that are just rotting away right now in Cleveland because of how incompetent the offense is.
And Trey Lance isn't going to fix that.
No, I know. I didn't say that. I'm just saying they are up shit creek. Cleveland is in fuck zone, and I am excited for it because I desperately hope it ends in Myles Garrett, a Dallas Cowboy. Because if there's ever one pipe dream to hold on to, that's the one.
That's the one? All right.
Yeah, well, Myles Garrett is definitely the pipe dream. Like, there is zero way that you could trick me or talk me into any other NFL player being more exciting than Myles Garrett being a Cowboy. Nobody else.
Being a Cowboy. I thought you just meant joining your team.
No, if he was, if Myles Garrett was joining the Cowboys, I think that
when I say your team, I don't mean like you specific as a Cowboys fan. I mean like
you just mean any NFL team?
Yeah.
I mean, I think anybody would love to have him, but I think specifically just being able to add that. So even though that probably won't happen for the Cowboys, even if he's made available, I'm still excited for the fact that we could potentially see a player like that move from a city that deserves to have him, but from an ownership group that just is, they're bad. They're just not. They sold their souls.
I think the team that really fucked you and really fucked all of us, but you specifically on this one, actually no, because Cleveland was one of your unique picks. It
was really Cleveland, because
Cleveland was your
they were without obviously Adams, but they were also without Max Crest. Or what's his name? Max Crest. Max Crosby. Yeah.
There you go. But I was gonna say the team that really kept us from even higher heights was the New York Jets. Losing 10-9 to the Broncos, man. That was pathetic football from the Jets.
That's above me now. The Jets had no reason to lose that, but they did.
They found a way to lose.
I feel the same about the Rams. I'm like, fuck you guys specifically because you guys need to win every game you can this season. And this specifically is a matchup you should have won. And you're letting the team that can't run the football run all over you. All right, well, I'm out on the Rams now. Fuck you guys. That's how you're going to play. Fuck you.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. They are missing their literally only two players worth of shit on offense outside of Matt.
I'm talking about defense, man. They're getting their throats run down, and I'm like, no, this is Chicago Bears, bro. DeAndre Swift cannot be doing this. He can't be going from basically 1 yard a carry to busting off 60-yarders on you.
As true as that is, I will give them I will give them a little leeway in that they are missing Nakua and Cup, and they don't really have.
I mean, neither one of those dudes play linebacker or defensive.
Yeah, but guess what? If it comes to a shootout between a Rams team that has those two guys, and then the way the Bears are currently set up, the Bears lose that game probably 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, well, by the time those dudes are healthy, it might be too little, too late for the Los Angeles Rams.
True. But anyway, let's continue on then. With the overall picks or our overall standings. So I don't have our losses tallied because Patrick does not have our losses tallied on here, but I do have our wins. Bethke, you have 31 wins on the season. I have 36, and Patrick remains at top with 37 games correctly.
One bad week.
Picked. He's one bad week away, man. He's one bad week away. Now, let's go ahead then and talk about our teams in the week that was, and we will start with Thursday Night Football's, or last Thursday Night Football's, Dallas Cowboys win over the New York Giants.
Second down and goal. Looks one way, the other. Sets up a little bit of a screen here. Donald takes off. Score.
You should have let me know. CD's over here dancing around, breaking hearts again, waving and getting penalty flags for his touchdown, and you're showing me that little goofy shit.
We already talked about this off camera. Listen, next week you can just upload any Cowboy clip you want.
I didn't realize I needed to, but I will take this into consideration. Though this might be a tough week for highlights, but we'll see. As far as the game goes, there was the one highlight. That was the other part, is that you chose the other touchdown that I think was the only one of 3 total touchdowns in the game. No, the Giants never scored a touchdown.
It was all field goals from them.
And then I think it was only 2 touchdowns for the Cowboys, right? What was the final?
It was, I believe, 21-15.
Yeah, dude, this game was. Oh man, it was not a pretty one. It was definitely. It was definitely one of those things where I think, hey, give a lot of credit to the Giants for building a decent defense that could keep them, coming back at it. At the same time, holy shit, Mike McCarthy, this offense doesn't make a lot of sense, my friend. You're doing some things with Brandon Cooks that weren't great, and guess what? Now I guess that's a moot point because Brandon Cook's not going to be playing for a bit. So I guess we don't have to worry about that offensive inefficiency anymore. I am excited to see Ryan Flournoy get to play. I think he's a very talented player. So that's all fine and good. A win is a win and whatnot, but the only thing I could take away from this game was I can't believe the Giants still can't beat this team.
Very funny because
I was like, what the fuck is wrong with the Giants? They had so many opportunities to capitalize at the game, and it wasn't that bad of a game from the Cowboys, but it was just opportunity after opportunity. I mean, at least Mozzie Smith at least Mozzie was looking nice. You know what I mean? You get a big time game out of Mozzie. You've got 5 quarters in a row of high level play from Mozzie Smith. That's the takeaway. You just take that one thing away, and you just keep trucking as far as the Cowboys are concerned.
Right. And now going back onto your what you mentioned earlier, surprised that the Giants still can't beat this Cowboys team. If I were to tell somebody, right, I don't tell you what the score is or what type of score it is, but if I tell you the Giants have 5 scoring drives to the Dallas Cowboys 4 scoring drives, right? I think the average non-NFC East knower would think, oh yeah, Giants probably win that game, or it's probably a close game. It is technically a close game, losing by 5 points. You lose by, less than a touchdown. But if I tell you, yeah, all 5 scores are just field goals, right? And then the Cowboys actually manage some touchdowns.
Kicker was good. Give him credit.
Yeah, their kicker was good. Their kicker was solid.
Those were some tough field goals at times.
I guess so. I mean, he did have a 52-yarder, and then I don't know what the field conditions were.
Yeah, and that is a bitch of a place to kick sometimes. So.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, not for Brandon Aubrey, who made yet another 60-yard field goal. Listen, Brandon Aubrey should be locked into the first ever $100 million deal for a kicker. We're just being honest.
The Cowboys are gonna. That's the new trade this offseason. They're gonna Herschel Walker trade the kicker to.
Although he did miss a kick.
He did have one that went off. It wasn't too crazy. All I would have done is kind of sealed the game a little bit more, but the Giants' ineptitude was already doing that.
Yeah, and then you know what? The only highlight for the Giants was Malik Neighbors, who got hurt during the game, along with Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence. Am I not?
DeMarcus Lawrence, Micah Parsons out for probably maybe a month at the best for one of them. Maybe Micah gets back sooner. Definitely not Tank. Tank's definitely going to be out for most of the season, I would think. A decent chunk of it.
Yeah, it's not looking good for that side of the ball.
Neighbors just bounced his head off the ground.
Yeah, he did. He is questionable with a concussion for this week. And then you have D-Law got put onto IR, and then Micah Parsons is listed as doubtful for this week, as he was seen on wearing a boot and using a scooter as early as Monday morning.
Yeah, that's why I said I think 3-4 weeks is probably the most likely scenario to get one of them back, to get Micah back, and then and then Lawrence. It's just like, I guess by end of season, whatever that means. What it looks like.
Well, we'll see what happens. Some tough injury news for the Dallas Cowboys coming out of MetLife, which let's face it, MetLife is where healthy teams go to die. That place is a shithole, and the NFL should take care of that, but they won't, because they just refuse to admit when they're wrong on things. Oh, but with that said, Beth, anything else that you wanted to see on this game, or did you want to go ahead and move on to
this game was nothing burger.
All right. Well, there's two things that we're going to show you guys from the Minnesota Vikings. One from the game, and then one from Patrick. I'm not sure if Patrick took this video himself.
Oh yeah, I think you can hear him singing pretty clearly in that.
Okay, so this is him at a gate. Where was this? Is this on one of his adventures?
Yeah, I think he found a local bar that Vikings fans get to and rally at, and then he.
That's wild.
Did his thing.
All right. Well, let's see what Patrick recorded for us to watch.
Touchdown, rock 'em, sock 'em, fight, 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 fight. Vikings run up the score. You'll hear us yell for more. V-I-K-I-N-G-S. Skol Vikings, let's go!
Yay!
Cap City Tavern is I'm almost guaranteeing you is where he was at.
Word. Well, with that said, those Vikings fans, they had a lot to cheer for, because they put boots to ass on the Green Bay Packers.
Darnold 9-12, blocked by Jones to the end zone and caught. Jefferson, that is a touchdown. And
game got a little dicey. Sam Darnold had moments where it was like, oh my God, he's an MVP, and other moments where he's like, oh my God,
Sam Darnold.
This is gonna fuck them at some point.
Listen, this is essentially what we saw from him with the Carolina Panthers, except he didn't have an all-world wide receiver to throw to at the time. But we did see him have these moments of brilliance, and then he reminds you who he truly is behind all that talent that he has to throw to. And that's that Sam Darnold is a high variance quarterback whose lows are as low as you can get. But it didn't really come back to bite him too much in this game. I mean, they did eventually win the game in what was a close one, with the Green Bay Packers roaring back in the fourth quarter. They put up 22 points in that fourth quarter. But the Minnesota Vikings managed to hang on for dear life. And you know what? They got a lot of help from Jordan Love doing his best Brett Favre impersonation, going 32 of 54, 389 in the air, but 4 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. You cannot, if you want to win against a good team like the Vikings are, put up 3 interceptions on the board. But Jordan Love did that, and despite the fact that he did that, he did manage to keep his team on the board. But let's talk about the winners here, as they deserve to be talked about. The Minnesota Vikings, man, they're just clicking on all cylinders on offense. Even when, sorry about that, Sam Darnold has these moments where you're like, oh, shit, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? It's offset by the fact that Kevin O'Connell just seems to know exactly the right buttons to push, the right calls to make to keep this offense going. They leaned on to Aaron Jones. You mentioned that you didn't see Aaron Jones, really go into that stadium and rip their hearts out the way that you wanted him to. But 22 carries for 93 yards on the ground, nothing to scoff at. Justin Jefferson with that big boy touchdown that you saw. Jordan Addison playing the perfect Robin to his Batman. And then Aaron Jones also contributed for 4 catches for 46 yards. So, all in all, they made the most of this 3-headed attack that they got. And, of course, they had those 3 interceptions. So, kudos to the Vikings. They're playing probably the best football out of all the teams in the NFL right now. Bethke, you have anything to add to this game? If you even got to see any of it?
Yeah, I did watch a good chunk of it, and then I basically focused more on the Eagles one. I think that was simultaneously, if I remember correctly. Yeah, and I think I finished. Actually, I don't know. I think I kind of kept this one on dual screen, actually, because they were both just such ass whoopings, and then all of a sudden they became close, and all of a sudden they weren't.
Well, this is this time where we go to the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, if you remember last week, people, I said that on my PTR picks, I had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Because in my spirit, I just did not have faith that the Eagles would win this game. Although I did say that they should win this game. And one thing that I should have pushed back on that I didn't was whenever you guys said, Baker Mayfield hadn't reached rock bottom in his rookie game against the Broncos. But then I looked at that stat sheet, and I'm like, the man took 7 sacks, had under 200 yards passing on over 26 throws, and an interception. I'm pretty sure that should constitute as rock bottom. And going into the next game, he's going to want to have that, damn, we don't believe in Baker moment. And he played like nobody believed in Baker for a good chunk of that game. But you know what? For as much as Baker did kick the Eagles' ass, the Eagles themselves were their own worst enemy. And I have this video listed from this Eagles game, which was a loss to the Buccaneers. I don't remember the exact score. What was it? 30-16, I believe, was the final in that game. Or 33-16. Yeah, 33-16. It was this bozo right here.
I'm only 30 minutes up the road. I'm going to put belt ass today.
A few moments later.
Mayfield looking left, throwing left. It's Evans, touchdown, Tampa. Throwing again. Over the middle, and Jones! Caught! Touchdown, Trey Palmer! So now it's Baker Mayfield back with it up to a touchdown.
Oh, that video does go on for a couple more seconds, but you guys get the idea. We were a bunch of clowns out there on defense. No fucking just sense of self I think this Eagles team defense has. All right, because if they had any sort of pride, any sort of identity, as you mentioned, this no identity defense should Kellen Moore ever take over. They already have it. They have no identity. They have no pass rush, right? They just have no teeth. This team has no teeth on defense, and you saw the Bucs take full advantage of it. And Todd Bowles just seems to have Jalen Hurts' number. Jalen Hurts, I believe, is 1-3 against Tampa Bay Buccaneers teams led by Todd Bowles' defenses. And sure enough, you come into this game, you have no Lane Johnson, who the Eagles historically have done very poorly when he does not play. He is arguably the most valuable person on that offense because he's just so important to what they do schematically in terms of passing schemes and run blocking. All right. So anytime he misses time, the Eagles can't seem to get enough wins when his replacements do have to take his spot for him in those moments. Also, no A.J. Brown, no Devontae Smith. So what do you have? You have Dallas Goedert, right, who had a career game the week before and has shown himself to be a very valuable asset in the passing game when given the opportunity. And then you have Saquon Barkley, arguably your sole reason that you are not 1-3 right now. Some could argue you could be 3-1 if he makes that catch against Atlanta. I say, you know what? There's a lot of reasons they lost that game, and it shouldn't have come down to him making that play. So your lone two bright spots on the offense in Tampa Bay. And what happens? You get Dallas Goedert, a respectable 7 catches, 63 yards, nothing too great, nothing too bad. And then Saquon Barkley is almost a non-factor throughout this entire game for the exception of one long run. And then when pressed about it, Nick Sirianni responds with just, hey, when you have consecutive 3 announced like we do, it's hard to get Saquon the ball. Nick Sirianni, you stupid son of a bitch. That's not the point, and that's not what they're trying to get at. What they're trying to get at is why aren't you using him early? Why aren't you getting him started with the first play of the game, with the second play of the game? Why are you waiting so long? It's because you're a jackass. That's why. And then, you're down your 2 top receivers. So you have Paris Campbell, John Ross, 2 names that NFL fans should be familiar with. Older guys that are over the hill. And then Jahan Dotson, a young guy, first round pedigree, has shown in flashes that he belongs in this league, should be a starting wide receiver, whether it's on the outside or in the slot. And Jalen Hurts, you asshole, you absolute asshole of a man. You refuse to throw the ball to somebody who's not your boys. So you know what happens with that? Let me tell you what happens with quarterbacks who refuse to throw their boys. You limit your offense. You squeeze the field.
They got to go to vibe camps together. They got to do some retreats.
Something. Now, I get it. He came in very late into training camp. But that's no excuse, Jalen Hurts. You don't have A.J. Brown. You don't have Devontae Smith. And you can't just force feed Dallas Goedert all game long. You're going to have to spread the ball out. Why are you so fixated on just throwing to 3 guys? 3 fucking guys. And then in one instance, you miss Saquon Barkley on what should have been an easy touchdown. Beth, give 1 second. There is a giant fucking roach that I'm going to squish before it gets away. So I'll let you take over for a few seconds.
The Eagles are not a great football team, but it's not because they don't have great talent. No, sirree, Bob. They have a lot of great talent. Unfortunately, ego and piss poor management exists, and those things can take away from great talent.
All right, I'm back. That thing was big as fuck. I don't know where that shit came from. But anyway, but yeah, you said something about poor management. You're right. Listen, all in all, the reason this Philadelphia Eagles team is 2-2 and they're playing like a team that is 2-2, it's a top-down situation. Nick Sirianni is not a good coach, and this does not look like a well-coached football team on either side of the ball. Offense, defense, special teams. They just are not clicking. And now, on top of that, it seems like Nick Sirianni, this just fucking sad excuse of a head coach who's so desperate to try to look relevant, it seems that his offensive philosophies has bled into what Kellen Moore does. Because I have done plenty of research over the weekend and just looking into like, hold on, this is not the Kellen Moore that I was promised. I know that for all his faults and a lot of criticisms that you levy against him, he did still coordinate some successful offenses, despite the fact there are some things that are frustrating about some of his play calling. But I look at this and I'm like, all right, what about schematically? Just schematically, is he doing a bunch of 2x2, 2 tight ends, 2 backs, 2 tight ends, 1 back situations? How much motion is he bringing into this? Because in Dallas, he used motion quite a bit. In Los Angeles, he used motion quite a bit. The Eagles, they were, I believe, 16th in the NFL in week 1 in motion. They had 52% of their plays have motion. Since then, the Eagles have significantly dropped towards the bottom of the league in motion. This looks very staticky.
They got no motion.
And I'm like, hold on. A lot of these concepts they're running are the same fucking concepts that they were running last year when Nick Sirianni was allegedly not calling the plays. It was Brian Johnson, but it was Nick Sirianni's offense. I'm like, this is Nick Sirianni's offense with Kellen Moore's name put on the fucking label of the bottle. That's what's happening right now. And I don't know if that is a Nick Sirianni issue. Is that Jalen Hurts who's like, hey, I just want to run the things that I want to run under your playbook that I don't agree with, but I still want to run these plays, which that's an even bigger can of worms in my opinion. Because if you look at Dak Prescott, for all the criticisms that people can have about him as a passer, as a quarterback, whatever, there's one thing that he does that I genuinely respect this part of his game, and I respect this from a lot of quarterbacks, and that they get multiple people involved. They don't necessarily shoehorn themselves into just one particular target if they don't have to, right? They can't spread the ball. They can't trust other people, and they will throw over the middle of the field, things that Jalen Hurts has not done since 2022. And I don't know if that's a Sirianni issue now that Shane Steichen's gone, because under Shane Steichen, Jalen Hurts was not scared to throw over the middle of the field. Was he throwing over the middle of the field a lot? No, but was he doing it enough to make defenses respect him being able to throw to all parts of the field? Yes. And that has been lacking now since 2023, and it's bleeding into 2024. And that is what you saw happen against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All the passes are going to the outside, and they're going to just 2 or 3 guys, and you're wasting Jahan Dotson. You're wasting that draft pick that was a 3rd-round draft pick. That's what you brought him in here for, was to, hey, Brown and Smith have to move some time. Jahan Dotson can step in because he's played as a starting receiver before, and now you got nothing. Vic Fangio, I'm losing faith on you and on your defense week by week. That Saints game, an aberration, it looks like. But who knows? There's still 13 games left to go. And thankfully, for my mental health and my Sunday afternoon, I don't have to watch them play this weekend. But there are still 2 teams that represent this podcast playing this weekend. And let's get into them, shall we? All right. Now, we're going to go in order of record here. So, the Minnesota Vikings.
Minnesota Vikings. Well, it is important to say one last thing.
Oh, yes. Go for it.
Less thinking equals talent takeover.
Why is it in slow motion?
For emphasis.
Oh, God. Yeah, there is no thinking in that organization right now. But yeah, listen, the Minnesota Vikings are going across the pond, as they say, playing in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium against the New York Jets.
Gareth Bale.
Is that a guy that plays for Tottenham Hotspur? I don't know.
At one point in life, yes, but probably a decade ago.
All righty. Well, there we go. Now, The Minnesota Vikings will be playing against the New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers gets to play against a team that I think he has plenty of success against. He should, right? And let's face it, you have Aaron Rodgers, right? Going up against Sam Darnold. This is a Sam Darnold revenge game of sorts. He gets to play against his former team.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I don't think any of
the
his
highlight of his Jets career was getting mono that one time and then being out due to mono.
That certainly is one of the few highlights that he had there. Now, yeah, this game. Listen, the analytics matchup predictors are telling me the Vikings should have a 53.7% chance of winning this game. I'm going to tell it to y'all like this: Minnesota goes 5-0 in this game. The New York Jets just are lacking something. There's just a lot. That defense is not as good as they should be. And despite the fact that the offense looked really not good against the Broncos, they have their moments, right? They do have these moments of when they commit to the ground game and allow Aaron Rodgers to work off of that. But again, if this was an elite offense, they maybe aren't 2-2. And if they had even an average defense, this team is not 2-2. Unfortunately for them, this is a slightly average offense with a below average defense. And you're going up against a team that's just such a hot streak. The vibes are good in Minnesota. They just seem to have the right combination of play caller on offense, play caller on defense. And listen, Sam Darnold, he's playing well enough. He is playing good enough football, and that's what matters. Give me the Minnesota Vikings against the New York Jets.
Minnesota!
Thank you for that one. Do you have anything else you want to comment on this game in particular?
No, I think for me it's pretty simple. I just want to say wonky game in London, wonky team in the Jets. I'm picking the Jets. Wonky team, wonky game. Pick the wonky team in the wonky game.
There you go. All right. Now, this game is a game that is going to tear Mexican households apart all around the country. Just weirdly enough, just in all parts other than the states that they represent, will these homes be just torn apart. It's the Cowboys and Steelers, two teams that have some of the biggest national appeal outside of their own home states, and for good reason, right? For the history that these organizations have. But you are looking at two very different teams in this case. You have the Dallas Cowboys 2-2. They're reeling with defensive injuries, and there's some frustration with the play calling on offense. Bethke, you've alluded to it pretty much since the start of the season. I think it was one of those things that you were concerned about coming into the season, and it's starting to kind of rear its head here. The Dallas Cowboys are going up against a really good defense in the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers and Justin Fields on the offensive side of the ball, they might have caught a break, right? They've definitely probably caught a break because the Dallas Cowboys are down their two best pass rushers in Micah Parsons, in DeMarcus Lawrence. And so it'll be an easier time for him in the pocket. Where we've seen Justin Fields improve immensely from his time in Chicago to his time here in Pittsburgh. Granted, it's just a 4-game sample size, but my eyes, they don't tell lies, right? My eyes are telling me that Justin Fields is playing smart, efficient football. He's not scared to throw over the middle of the field with this team, especially because Arthur Smith's offensive philosophies really do go towards attacking the middle of the field, either in the pass game or attacking the middle of the defense through the ground game. And we're seeing plenty of that with Najee Harris, Justin Fields on the ground. Justin Fields, George Pickens have a really solid connection. It's not a spectacular offense by any means. They're not going to put up wonderful, amazing, just fantasy winning stats, but they are efficient and they're gritty. And it's going to be a real test for the Dallas Cowboys, who I think they're away at this game, but they've had some success recently.
As recent as the year 2016.
And even before that, right? Like I want to say that their last couple of trips to Pittsburgh, I know it's different teams.
They don't play a lot. Yeah,
they don't play a
whole lot. Yeah.
But the times that they have played in Pittsburgh, I think has been in the favor of the Dallas Cowboys.
No, yeah, this is where Dak took Romo's job officially in 16 when Romo was still will he won't he play that year, and then that's when Zeke had his biggest game essentially. There is big, I'm here. Welcome to the Zeke show game. And honestly, that's really my hope for this game is I don't know that the Cowboys can win the game in any way but ugly as fuck. I think they're going to need a lot of turnovers to do it because there's a lot of youth and defense is going to have to step up, which I'm honestly not that pissed off about because like they kind of need to just see what they got in some of these positions. Especially with Mozzie, Marshawn Nealon, guys you really want to hope that are actually real guys. Continue to prove that, even if they're not going to continue to, even if they can't put the win together. That's really what I want to see. But I'd love to see Zeke have just one game back, and it would just be fun and nostalgic for it to be this one. So I think that's selfishly why I say that.
Gotcha. Oh, shit. I just realized something. All right, so I'm a little out of order here. I forgot to do our watch it, skip it train wreck, so we'll do that in a second. But just to give you guys some last minute more preview analysis of this game, or just give you guys kind of a prediction. Sincerely, I think this is going to be a close game. I think Pittsburgh plays like just the way that they play, the way that they're built. They play games close to the chest. Even despite the injuries, despite some of the struggles on offense, I think the Dallas Cowboys still really make this a close game. I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers winning this game in a close one. I think it's an ugly game. I think it's going to be 24-22 in the favor of the Dallas Cowboys. Or sorry, Pittsburgh Steelers, with the Dallas Cowboys going to 2-3. So there's that one on that. And then, Bethke, is it safe to assume that you think the Cowboys break the NFL scoring record with a 77-0 shutout?
I do. I think it's pretty obvious. Everything shows that this is what's going to happen. One time people think that, hey, this is going to stop them. No. This is going to completely come out here. Yeah, it completely come out here and just take the house away. Super Bowl champions, all that good stuff.
There we go. Now, we usually don't end the segment on the football segment list, but we will this time because I was a little out of order. But here we go, y'all. It's our watch it, skip it, train wreck. There is no special music this week, unfortunately.
We'll put it in post.
We can put it in post.
See.
We'll see. Who knows? Patrick, I'm going to give you 3 seconds of silence. There you go. You could have used that moment of silence to just edit around if you want to edit around. If not, that's fine. Anyway, looking at this week's slate of games, I have 3 games on the watch it list. Bills at Texans, both teams 3-1, drastically different 3-1. The Texans win a game they probably shouldn't have against the Jacksonville Jaguars, but I'm glad that you did because you kept my picks alive. All right. The Bills coming off an ass whooping from the hands of the Baltimore Ravens, who seem to have found their groove. Something's got to give them this one. Who bounces back? Or do the Bills bounce back? Do the Texans manage to pick up some momentum from the week before? That remains to be seen. But you have 2 young stud quarterbacks dueling it out. And it is Stephon Diggs' revenge game, maybe. Who knows? This Texans team certainly has not been a smooth experience, both on offense and defense. Can they right the ship? And then on the Buffalo side, they've been a lot better than expected on both sides. A lot of people thought this was a rebuilding year for Buffalo. It turns out if you have one of those top 3 elite level quarterbacks, it's never rebuild, son. It's just reload. The next game that I have on our watch it list, we just talked about it, Bethke. Cowboys Steelers. And this is more for narrative than I think for quality of the game. There's just a lot of moving parts in this game.
It'll also be the only game on at the time. So
you could just watch it, but people could also just go to the movies. You could do
other things with your life, but why?
Why? When you have, like we kind of mentioned, the Justin Fields redemption arc that he's going through right now, and then you have the turmoil in Dallas. Can Dak Prescott lead these Cowboys through the struggles that they've been going through? Can he help them overcome some of that? That's one of the reasons you should watch it, because narratively speaking, it's very intriguing, especially with the two brands that are playing, the Steelers and Cowboys respectively. And then my last must-watch it candidate for the week, the New Orleans Saints at the Kansas City Chiefs. I wasn't entirely sold on this one. I had to convince myself, because we've seen the Saints. They've had 3 rather productive offensive games, right? And then 1 stinker. And then you look at the Chiefs, and all their performances offensively have been borderline stinkers. Let's be real. This is a 4-0 team that doesn't feel 4-0. This feels like a team that's hanging on for dear life. Like you're seeing the struggles of trying to three-peat in the NFL. We've never seen it done. I don't think we've seen it done in terms of winning the Super Bowl. We have seen
not in the Super Bowl era.
No, we have seen the Buffalo Bills make it to 4 straight. Well, you and I haven't. We were either in the fucking womb or
the modern NFL has seen this happen.
Yeah. So listen, the Kansas City Chiefs are without Rashee Rice. They just I don't know who they're supposed to throw the ball to. You look at it, Rashee Rice was leading the team in targets and receptions. Travis Kelce is just not Travis Kelce anymore. Father Time's catching up with him. This could be a big Xavier Worthy game, but that he's not built to take on volume. And then you just look at everything else that the team's putting on. No one's really stepping up. So it'll be interesting to see how Andy Reid designs the offense going forward for this Kansas City Chiefs team. And we're not, and one thing we're not talking about, Patrick Mahomes is not playing great football. Like, listen, I get it, 68% completion percentage. He's also near the top of the league in interceptions, right? His touchdown interception ratio is not good. His yards per game is not good. His average depth of target's not good. They're struggling in Kansas City. So something's got to give in this game. Can the Kansas City Chiefs bounce back? Or, not bounce back, but can they make things look better than they have against a team that is better than I think most of us expected them to be at this point of the season? I know they just lost a heartbreaker to the Falcons, but who knows? Maybe they come off and start running the ball down the Kansas City Chiefs' throats. So, with that said, my vote for the must-watch game of the week, it's going to be Cowboys and Steelers, and that's just because I think Justin Fields is a very exciting football player, and I'm really rooting for him to just have a great season. Becky, I'm going to assume that because of your affiliation with the Dallas Cowboys, that's your vote as well? Or do you want to swerve us?
You always got to watch the Cowboys. And then I do think that Chiefs are interesting watch because I feel like they are the big – will they go out and make the receiver trade with a couple being on the market now? But I actually think I'm more interested in the Bills and the Texans because I want to know if the Texans are about to have a bad season or not. I'm interested to see if there's a little of that second-year regression or if they're just going to have a little bit of an ugly start or they just mid altogether. Texans, I'm interested in deciding who they are because I don't think I know.
There we go. All righty. And then Patrick does not get a vote because he's still under siege from people with pitchforks.
Yes.
Now, our must skip it. Listen, honestly, I don't know if you saw the matchups that are happening this week, but there's just a lot of not sexy matchups. Just a lot of mid.
Get some housework done. Yeah.
Yeah. So part of me would like to say any game that's not on the must watch it could be a skip it for various different reasons, either because the matchups aren't sexy or I just don't think the quality of the game is going to be very good. But one that really just screamed at my face and was saying, please acknowledge how bad this is. Please acknowledge how bad this can be. It's the Broncos and Raiders, man. It's just wow. You have Gardner Minshew against Bo Nix. Who wants to watch that? You cannot, as a sane football person, look me dead in the eyes and say that you want to spend 3 hours as a non-affiliated fan of these teams watching Bo Nix and Gardner Minshew duke it out. You just can't. Okay, this is bad football waiting to happen. And the worst part about it is, if the Broncos win, it's just going to hide the fact that Bo Nix is not a good quarterback, and I'm trying to tell people he's not good. And then if the Raiders win, well, hey, like it doesn't really matter because they're not going anywhere this season, despite the high hopes that I had for them in the offseason. But that's my much skip game because I think it's just going to be a boring slop fest. But this following game, this one has the potential to not just be a boring slop fest, but it's a boring slop fest with absolute just peak potential for absolute mayhem and train wreckery. That's not a word, but we're making it a word. The only game that I have this week for our train wreck candidate is the Miami Dolphins against the New England Patriots. Why is this? Well, the Miami Dolphins don't have a real quarterback on their roster right now. Tyler Huntley, with the most fake Pro Bowl selection of all time, is captaining the offense right now. And he didn't look that great because that offensive line is trash. Tyreek Hill does not want to be there, it looks like. Or he just really misses Tua Tagovailoa that badly. Listen, you're in store for watching some really, really bad football, but it could be so bad that it is good. We're talking about a B movie type of experience that you could get out of this Dolphins Patriots, and that's why I have elected this as the train wreck game of the week. Bethke, do you have any comments or suggestions for the skip it or the train wreck? Or are you simpatico? Are you fully in sync with me on this one?
Yeah, no, I think that this was the very, very easy week for you on those. I'm glad there was no discussion of competition. The Dolphins are just stuck in train wreck hell because they refuse to get a quarterback. They refuse to come into the season with a quarterback outside of Tua, and we're all stuck watching it now, I guess. So thanks for that, Miami assholes.
Yeah. And for somebody wondering, what about the Tennessee Titans and Will Levis? They're on a bye week. Sorry, y'all. They are easily top contenders for train wrecks of the week.
They'll be back with the bullshit next week.
Yes. So next week we won't have the Will Levis low light of the week, but we will find those pictures of all the Will Levis just memeable faces. But with that said, that concludes our football segment. CTE ball is done. The Inmates have successfully ran the Asylum yet again. So,
boom.
With that said, if Patrick survives this manhunt that he's undergoing, you'll see him here again next week. And hopefully he comes back in time to fix our Google Sheets so we can have our picks set up before Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, we might have to do honor system on Thursday, but we will find out next week.
Thank you, everybody. We're out. And
less thinking equals talent takeover.